I think that one of the biggest misconceptions around communication is that we only need to change our communication if we're being harsh or cruel or critical. And a lot of parents will say, well, I'm not being harsh or critical. I'm being empathetic and I'm setting firm limits. For example, take a situation where a child is having lots of fun, but they're not being safe with their bodies. They're unaware of how much space they're taking up, or they seem impulsive and unable to settle. But we know that they're capable, right? So we might say something like, be careful, or look what you did, you almost knocked over your sister. Now, the intention is to make them aware of their surroundings. We want to point them to the things that we want them to focus on, which in this case is not hurting other children or not knocking into other children. Our words may not even have a tone of impatience. They're very kind. They sound supportive. We think that we're being helpful, and we might not even see those words with any negative connotation. But the more important question is, does it give kids quality information about how to change their behavior? Is there an offer of support, a tool for stress relief, or an attempt to help them practice their emerging skills? We need more than vague demands like be careful or blame that sounds like look what you just did. So this kind of language doesn't help us as parents or teachers actually feel calm and capable ourselves. It leads us to feeling more angry and frustrated when children don't immediately shift their behavior. So if our first statement didn't give too much quality feedback, then we probably have to go in again. And we might say something like, do you need a timeout? And we're totally calm and loving, and we might even get close and get down on their level. And here is where we might think that we're actually giving them the choice to make a responsible decision, but really what we are doing is we're shifting the responsibility of being the leader and the guide in the situation. Do you need a timeout? That likely just puts them in a state of fear, and when we're afraid, we can't make better decisions, we can't adjust our behavior, and we can't consider what other people might need. If we push kids to make decisions without actually giving them the information and the feedback that they need to make those better decisions and make new choices, then we're just going to frustrate ourselves and our children. Now at this point, a child may retreat. They may actually move into a place where they are able to stop what they're doing and they're controlling their behaviors and it seems like they're obeying. But what is the message that we've sent them? What is the message that they take away about how we feel about them? We want to avoid sending kids unintentional messages that they internalize as negative self-concepts. They might be obedient, but we don't want them to think things like, I'm trying and you just don't understand me, or gosh, just leave me alone, or fine, I'll show you, right? We get that attitude. Or sometimes they might just shut down and say, you know what, fine, I'll go where you can't even see me. But what if the behavior still hasn't stopped? We might then go in and try to help the child in a more traditional, punitive way. We might say, you know what, I think you need to go and sit on the steps and just think about how you're acting, and you can come back when you're feeling calm. Now on the surface, it sounds like a good limit, right? It sounds neutral, like we're setting the limit, we're being firm. But what it really tells a child is, you can't do this, so now you're going to have to go and sit alone and not have any fun. But if we're not going over there as the regulated adult with the bigger brain to support them through this challenge, then they don't really go over there thinking about what they did or about how to calm down. They go over thinking how mom doesn't understand me, or how dad ruined my fun again, or how I never get anything right, or I'm always in trouble. We miss our opportunity for a teachable moment because we've unintentionally told our children that the way to make better choices and to be more capable is to stop having fun or to be alone or isolated. And finally, we might go in with one final request, and we might say, do you think that you're able to be calm and play nicely? But what tools have we actually given the child to control their behavior? Or how have we helped them to understand that their feelings of joy and excitement led to their inability to control their impulses or stop what they were doing? Have we taught them to notice in their bodies what is going on? What are those signals that send us the message that maybe we need to find more space, or that we're about to lose control, or that we're unaware of our surroundings, and that it's time to get more space and get calm? This is the information that they need to know to help them change their behavior. So the first way that we can switch this around is simply to just notice what we see without judgment. It looks like you need more space. Your sister is also playing here. They don't need any commentary on their inability to listen or their lack of self-control. Let's just state what we see. Sometimes that neutral statement instead of activating their stress response, is just what they need to help them move into a different place or make a new decision. They can stay connected to their thinking brain, and that helps them adapt or adjust their behavior in the situation based on what they see or notice coming from other people. But depending on age, maybe they can't. Maybe they still need our help. So the first step is to acknowledge and validate. Kids who feel heard are more willing to listen to others. So you say, you want to jump around and roll around because it feels good and it's fun. But I can't let you do that. It's not safe with the baby here. We acknowledge the feeling and that it's fun to jump and roll around and it feels good. And we acknowledge the need to play, but we also set a compassionate, neutral limit that says, you can have fun, but I can't let you do this here. And it also doesn't say to a child, change or else. It says to a child, I know that you have good intentions and I'm here to help if you can't do it alone. There's no judgment, look what you did, and there's no punitive shame. If you can't, then you have to go be alone. There is none of that shifting the responsibility for change onto the child, because obviously we know if a child is not changing their behavior, then they need help. Something is getting in their way. And so we can use empathy plus brainstorming solutions together so that we can give kids that kind of quality feedback that they need. We can say, you can still play. What do you think will work? You can't play here, but what else can you do? Do you have another idea? This says to kids that the need to play is valid, but being unsafe is not okay. I'm going to help you be safe and meet your need to play. When children feel like we are a partner in helping them make new choices or better decisions, they are able to make important connections in the brain that over time and with lots of support and practice will allow them to independently control their behavior. Children are just better able to meet our expectations when we support them with curiosity and non-judgment and compassion, instead of creating fear and shame, which sends them the message that we think that they're incapable. Instead, we're sending them the message that says, this is hard, you're working on it, and it's hard to control our bodies when we're feeling so excited and when we're having fun, but I'm going to help you. This is not okay. I'm here to help you figure out a new way. What can we do instead? So what do you guys think? Do you have some ideas of what we could say instead? Have you ever said to your child, be careful? And maybe it works, but maybe you found yourself having to follow up over and over again to try to get that message across. So what has worked for you? I would love to hear it. Leave a comment below, because you never know when your story might just be what someone else needs to hear. All right, everyone, that was my conscious communication tip for you today. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing. And of course, please remember, it's about being conscious, not perfect.